Well, hello and welcome to Brenna MacMillan. She's a banjo player, singer, songwriter, and Kentuckian. So, welcome, Brenna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We were just at the beginning, before we got on the call, chatting about the Merlin app, which is a bird app for those of you listening who don't know, because Brenna is out in Nashville sitting in her backyard right now.
Yes.
Beautiful, warm Nashville. But there you were in Kentucky, and now you're in Nashville. How'd you go from Kentucky to Nashville?
Well, let's see. I actually am coming up on my anniversary of being in Nashville. I don't remember the exact day, but I remember I graduated college and then I got my wisdom teeth out the next day. And then I moved here a week later back in 2018. So
Oh, all right.
up on that 8-year time stamp. And so, yeah, through college, I started getting a little more serious about enjoying playing in bands, for one. I've played music since I was 9 and I've always sang, but I wasn't sure about pursuing it in any capacity until college when I got to play with the Berea Bluegrass Ensemble Band. It was much like a touring professional band. And through that experience, I got to see, okay, I really love this. I love being on the road. I love just playing on different stages and seeing new people and whatnot. So I got that little taste. And then my brother had already moved down here and he plays music. And so we had a loose plan to move to Nashville together and get day jobs with our degrees and then play music together in whatever form that would be.
And did you get a day job in your degree?
I did. I worked in labs for about 6 years. I have a chemistry degree. And so, about a month after I moved here, I got my first job in a healthcare drugs interactions testing lab. And I was so stressed out. It's my first big girl job in that capacity. And it felt, oh, this is it. But I soon settled in and it ended up my boss there. She was from my hometown. And so we really hit it off. And it was a great job. They put up with a lot from me coming in late, being exhausted because I would go out and try to meet other people playing music after work every day. And then I went to a lot of house jams and stuff. And I was running on maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep
Wow.
that first year. So they had to deal with a lot of tired me showing up to work, but it was fun. It was good and it was a great experience. And then I got the opportunity to work for a cannabis lab for the next 5 years through a family friend. He's a chemist and he couldn't take the job. And he was like, "Do you know anything about this?" And I really didn't because I wasn't really into weed in college. I had an alcohol problem and I'm sober now, but so weed was like I didn't really care about it. So I was like, no, I don't really know anything about it. But at the time that I accepted the job, it was all CBD only. And I've always been into alternative methods that aren't prescription drugs with tons of side effects and things. And as a person with migraines and random stuff, I was intrigued by the position and soon found it to be really fascinating. And I did that for, yeah, just about 5 years. And then I've been full time music for the last 2.5 years.
I want to jump back to something that you said. I saw this cartoon once
Yeah.
of a woman sitting in like a lawn chair, and it was obviously at a festival. And she said, "I like going to bluegrass festivals with my husband because it's the only place nobody thinks I have a drinking problem."
Oh,
You mentioned being sober now, so I'm curious about that because it's around in the bluegrass world a lot.
oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's just around in the world a lot, and people are trying to let loose anytime they can. And if they're not doing their 9 to 5 and they find themselves at a festival for the weekend, I could see that that would be a great place to do so. And I'm all about people having a good time if that's what it is for them. to partake. Some people, such as myself, it's not about having a good time. When it came to alcohol, it was more about escaping from everything in my head. And that's not really how you can heal from anything. So you win some, you lose some.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that for you. How long do you live in Nashville before you're not a Kentuckian anymore?
Oh, you're never not a Kentuckian.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes, I do love Tennessee. It's not that much different from Kentucky in many ways, culturally, the lay of the land, the weather. There's a lot of similarities. And so, in that sense, so many of my friends have moved from further away states to come to play music in Nashville. And there's a different kind of homesickness that they get because everything is so different. I'm lucky to not really feel that homesick here because there's enough that feels like the way that it was growing up for me not to fret about that. But yeah, I mean, especially with the UK Vols rivalry, I'm never going to claim to be a Tennessean.
Okay. There you go. Now 2.5 years full time.
Yeah.
How do you mostly spend your musical professional time?
Since I've gone full time and I was playing music pretty much at it felt like during the lab job years, I was also playing music what felt like full time. It's just not where all my money was coming from, basically. So I would get off of work and then go play gigs or do weekend runs or whatever. And so it doesn't look too different from that now, except that it's my only form of income. Initially, I didn't decide to go music full time. My boss closed the company I was working for. And then he told me about the fact that he was going to have to close. And that same weekend, I got an Instagram message from an artist that offered me a 3 or 4 month long tour for the summer. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And then I'm not going to apply to lab jobs right away. I'll just see how long I can pay my bills with money from music. And so I say yes to almost every gig that comes my way, whether that's a touring gig, in town gigs, last minute bar band gigs. That was a lot of the first year was just playing in town in these, oh, hey, we got to play a 3 hour set tomorrow. And are you available? And then I also started teaching lessons that year. I do studio work, banjo, mostly vocals, I think, in studio in this environment where there's 100 banjo players that are better than me. So sometimes the banjo and vocals in studio and just pretty much anything related to music that anyone calls me about, I say yes. And that's been the theme, and that's kept me pretty busy. And now I'm trying to learn to say no to things, especially it seems like when I'm out on a tour and I think, oh, yeah, I have 2 weeks off when I come home. I need to make sure that I have work during that time. And I'll pack it full of things that come along. And then I come home and I don't realize how exhausted I am from
Yeah.
tour. And I usually get sick when I get back from tour. My body's saying, okay, you've been go, go, go. You won't do it yourself. So I'm knocking you out now. And so I'm learning to not stack the week that I come home from a tour with things. And then if I'm not working, then I'm working out or sleeping, trying to catch up on sleep or sitting on my porch. I do a lot of porch sitting when I'm home. It's very important to me because it feels like what I need to do. So,
I interviewed Tammy from the Still Drivers.
oh, yeah.
That is her philosophy, or she said was her philosophy when she first started out was just say yes. And she has a if you
Yeah.
go back for anyone listening or for yourself, you go and listen to her podcast. It's a really interesting story, exactly the way you're describing that by saying yes, it's opening up more opportunities.
Yeah.
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 Now, I am hearing the other side of it though, which is that and then you get super busy and then you're not taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Do you think that there are better ways that you could take care of yourself, especially when you're on the tour?
Definitely back in college and high school, everybody knows this. For a time in your life, you can eat whatever you want and it doesn't matter. Then it all of a sudden catches up with you and turns your body into something uh, foreign. I've dealt with different responses from my body just for what I've put it through for the last really since I was 17, just doing whatever I wanted, which was not sleeping, eating trash, and still working out really hard and being busy. And then sleep is something that is really hard to get just on tour or home because I've mostly toured in vans. So it's hotel rooms every night, and hotel rooms are different every night. Sometimes they're super comfortable and the right temperature and have the right width of a pillow or whatever.
Mhm.
And then sometimes they're humid and janky and fat pillows that I'm fighting against all night or whatever. So there's that aspect. And then anytime I've been on a bus tour, kind of depends on the bus driver for how well I sleep or which bunk I picked. And I still don't think I've figured out which bunk is going to be optimal for the best sleep, but hopefully I'll figure that out soon. So I think for tour to go well for myself, I haven't figured it out yet how to take care of myself the best besides nutrition, which is the only element I have some control over, but it's not great when you get to the venue, you load in, you've had a late lunch or something, they're serving a meal maybe, or you're finding something around 6 or 7. I don't really eat before a gig. So then the only thing available afterwards is trash food.
Yeah,
And you get to the hotel at midnight or 1 a.m. and you DoorDash Taco Bell or something. And you're like, all right, well, I guess I had to do this tonight. So I don't know. It's definitely difficult to stay healthy in that sense. But I guess when you're home, you just cook your eggs and pray for the best.
so the first Gray Fox Festival I went to, Sam Bush was there,
Yeah.
and I noticed that there were very few women on the lineup,
Hmm.
and they have these talk back sessions where you can go and ask questions. And so I raised my hand and I said, "Why do you think there aren't more women in bluegrass?"
Yeah.
And his answer was, maybe women don't like how hard it is to be on tour. Like they don't like sleeping in vans.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think that was the most accurate answer. I'm not going to say the best answer, but I was sure there had to be more to it. And it always stuck with me a little bit like, why would men be more tolerant of how unpleasant it is the way you're describing?
Yeah.
Or what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Hormones. I think what men's systems recoup every day. And then we have the 4 weeks, of course, of various levels going this way and that way and this way and that way. And it affects our sleep. It affects our mood. It affects how comfortable we are. And I certainly I'm about to go out on a 2-month run, and I certainly thought about my hormones first because I was like, "Oh gosh, that's 2 entire things to go through on the road, and I wanna have a heating pad, I wanna have ice, I wanna have all of these things that can make me feel a little better, and that's not always accessible. I like more privacy than men care about. Besides being a female, I'm a private person, even though I grew up on sports teams and stuff, but I was never into the whole, yeah, let's everybody just hop in the shower or whatever. So there's definitely, especially if you're touring on a bus, there's almost zero privacy besides when you're in your bunk with the curtain drawn, and that's your me time. And you have to share a bathroom with everyone. And I think there's probably some accuracy to his statement, but it's not about adaptability or durability or the capability. I think it's just that we, as women, we are like, oh, we already have more challenges to get through the day. than men physically, and then put that in a pretty intense working environment because you're not clocking in and clocking out. You're with your coworkers 24/7 on the road, and there's never an off switch. And then if you have any ailments, it's basically, well, go on the road and then expect to have a cold every 3 weeks or whatever and deal with that while you're on the road. And it just sometimes is daunting for sure. And part of the nutrition focus that I've been doing is to help mitigate some of the symptoms of what your hormones put you through, or at least what mine put me through. But it's definitely a consideration for me in touring.
Interesting. What I'm hearing you say is that it's not so much you're looking for comfort as it is the discomfort along with the already rigorous experience
Yeah.
makes for more challenges, for sure. And do you see that there are other barriers for women to be more national tours? What do you see as a woman in bluegrass?
Well, I think there's personal comfortability in considering safety and things like that. Before I consider going out on the road with a bunch of men, I have to think about my safety and make sure that I have some type of brotherly form of friendship with all of the guys in the band. And then if there are other women present, that definitely makes me feel better just in general. I mean, I grew up with 7 brothers and 4 sisters. It's not like I don't know how to interact with men. It's just that you got to look out for yourself as a female in general, whether it's going to the gas station or being in a bus with 11 guys. It's just complicated in some senses. I think there could be hesitations financially for people that hire women in bands. They have to think about the fact, oh, okay, so if we do get hotels, the female probably wants her own hotel room and we can't just throw her in with all the dudes. And I think the barriers are probably financial and personal security and safety from all the angles. Because again, when I worked the lab job, I only worked with guys at the cannabis lab and I had no problem with that. I didn't have to sleep in the building, you know?
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there was an element of a barrier there that was a healthy boundary with all my coworkers that was already in place. But when you have to sleep where you work, basically, it changes a lot mentally and everything. I think bands are starting to figure out how to accommodate bringing a female musician on the road to where she feels good and everyone else feels good. And I'm starting to see that a lot. So many of my friends are the only girl in a band on the road, and I'm so proud of everybody for that. It feels like it shouldn't be a big deal, but then there are just things that make it different from an all guy band pulling up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's all very insightful. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. I watched some of your banjo playing and some of the videos that you have on there. And one thing that struck me is that playing the banjo by yourself often and singing.
Oh, yeah.
So you're clearly a beautiful singer, and there might be 100 banjo players better than you, but you're still a pretty good banjo player. But that's a little unusual to do a whole show where it's just the banjo and you singing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess the banjo being my first instrument, it doesn't feel too unusual to me, but I didn't used to play under my singing because it was too much for my brain. That was when I was playing in a college band. So I would just cut out when I would come in and sing because there was other people playing and that would seemed the most simple. But then I started having some opportunities to do a little solo set here or there. I didn't really play guitar until when I was 19, I started playing guitar. A banjo player gave me a guitar and said, "You better learn how to play guitar because A, it'll help you when there's not another banjo player in a jam and you don't know the song, you can look at the guitar player's hand. And B, you just need to know how to play guitar a little bit. And I was like, fine. And I still have that guitar and it has helped a lot. But basically, I wasn't very good at guitar. I'm still not very good at guitar, but for a while. So I just had to learn how to back myself up. I'm certainly not the first to do that. John Hartford, he would be a good example of someone who made it work with those wackadoodle banjo rolls under his singing. And he moves with himself while he performs. And so it's this very cool thing. And I feel like I'm barely tapping into what that can be, but I really enjoy the fact that I have this triplet cadence behind my vocals while I'm playing and I can do whatever I want with that. And so it's like my little secret for myself. I'm like, it's okay if I mess up vocally or if I mess up with banjo, I can just cover myself. It feels less vulnerable than playing with a guitar because if you start rushing or dragging on rhythm while you're singing and then it's just a little more obvious. And with all the subdivisions with the banjo roll, it's a little less noticeable.
And you play both three finger and clawhammer banjo.
Well, yeah, I'm a three finger player, and then really a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I basically was just too lazy one night to get my picks out when I was writing with my friend, and so then I wrote my first clawhammer song. And then now I've been writing a lot of clawhammer songs, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even play clawhammer conventionally, and I'm in a town where all the best clawhammer players are, and this sucks." So I actually took a lesson from Frank Evans in January. So I'm on my clawhammer journey, but I wouldn't say I'm a proficient or even a really clawhammer player. I just swamp the banjo sometimes, and sometimes that's how I write stuff. I'm tapping into it.
Well, I think in Nashville, there's likely to always be, no matter how good you are, someone better than you are.
Oh, certainly. Certainly.
Do you think it's worth comparing yourself to other people?
No, no, I don't. But I think it's important to know where you're at, to know what you are and what you're not, so that you don't get complacent with something mediocre. And I think pretty much every musician is always trying to get better. And that's something that Nashville just automatically pushes you to do because you're surrounded by stellar musicians that are experienced and wizened and just beyond your years in every way. And so if you're around people that are better than you all the time, I only say anything self deprecating or whatever as a reflection of I'm always trying to get better because I want to be a better musician and be able to do more with my instrument, especially because I hear what is achievable out there and I'm like inspired and I'm like, all right, I need to know more and to be more acquainted with my instrument. And I just need to learn. I just need to keep learning how to make cooler sounds.
Yeah. And you're doing songwriting. I know my co-host Mike was very enamored with your song Black Bear, which I also got to listen to, which came out of a dream,
Yes,
right?
it did. It did. Yeah. A lot of my writing comes from dreams. Well, historically, in my small history, I have written a lot of my songs from dreams because I have very vivid dreams and I'm a light sleeper. So I'll just wake up and write stuff down or sing into my phone if it's a melody or something. But now that I've been on the road so much the last 2 years, I've been just people watching, which I've always enjoyed, but there's so much to see. There's so much going on all the time, and everyone's living their own life. And it's very intriguing to me. I love people watching. So now I've been writing a lot more about what I've seen. And so that's exciting. Just moving into the next era of writing, just having a new source of inspiration, I guess.
So that was going to be my next question. What is new that you're working on? What are you mostly focused on?
Oh yeah. Well, I just am moving into another touring season with a really cool songwriter from East Tennessee. I played on his album last fall and then he asked me to be on tour with him Uh, and I'm gonna get to open for the whole summer tour, and then I'm gonna play in his band as well, and then tour with him probably for the rest of the year. So that's gonna keep me pretty busy. But I had these couple weeks off here, and I just literally a few days ago went and laid down some tracks for my next album, and I'm so excited about it. And I don't know when this music will come out or how it'll come out. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I'm very excited about these songs. It was an extremely magical studio session, and it went better than I could have thought. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to keep trying to get a few sessions in for the rest of the year and figure out how to put that music into the world. Still building my own artistry, still doing sideman work. I have felt strongly more inspired to just keep putting my own music into the world for as long as I can. So that's definitely in the works at all times. And I'm writing with a lot of people. I'm just trying to get things out of my head onto something else for my own benefit and hopefully for someone else's if it turns into a song that's in the public.
And do you collaborate with Maddie Denton much?
Oh, yeah. Well, she and I wrote Black Bear together.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. She's one of my best friends, and we've played music together since I moved to town. My brother and I hired her for our first gig here in Nashville. And so we've been playing for a long time. And she was on all my brother and I's records. And we're like this. We try to write together a lot and just hang out. And anytime we get to be creative together, we try to, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for all of your very open sharing about the journey that you're on, which I found fascinating.
Oh, good.
And we will definitely look for what's next for you. If people do want to reach you or find out more about your music, tell us where they can go to do that.
Oh, yes. Where I'm most active is my Instagram, uh, and my handle is Brenna Frances MacMillan, just my whole name that nobody knows how to spell any of. That's where I'm the most active. I keep live dates on there going, and I ramble a lot on the little 24-hour stories on there about various things that seem to keep people entertained sometimes. And that is where I'll definitely be giving updates about projects I'm working on, people I'm playing with, and all of that kind of stuff.
Brenna Frances MacMillan.
Yes.
That's Francis with an E.
Francis with an E, Macmillan with an MAC, and Brenna, not Brianna or Brenda or Brennan or Brandon,
So,
like that.
Brenna. All right. Yes. Well, we will certainly put that link in the program notes. People can go and follow you on Instagram. You do have some really cool stuff on there. If you want to hear Brenna sing or play the banjo, there's lots on there to go and enjoy. That's what Instagram is for, is to go on and listen to artists and see artists. So, well, thanks again for joining, and I appreciate your time.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. And I'm honored to be on here with this community. And thanks for highlighting artists.